I'm so glad, that we highlighted the importance in the past of giving yourself some grace, because that fits in perfectly with this message of that, giving yourself some grace looks like, hey, I'm going at 60% today. Hey, I'm replacing my intense workout with a walk today. These are all things that constitute self-care. But I think where it gets weird is when we start to think that like inactivity is the way to give ourselves grace.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the Thick Thighs Save Lives podcast. I'm Kelsey.
I'm Rachel, and we're so happy to have you back. What did I already? I said I'm Rachel. What?
Oh, it sounded like you said
Rachel. I said I'm Rachel.
Man, we are only 20 seconds into this.
Should we start over? Fuck it. Are we starting over or not?
No, let's roll with it.
All right, we're rolling. Well, I'm Rachel, and I'm happy to have you back before I was so rudely interrupted.
Oh, we are having a great day.
It's a great day. It's Valentine. We're recording a little bit ahead. It's a Valentine's Day today. Kelsey is in her pink. I sent my son poorly equipped with some Valentine's Day cards we made last night. It was the most stressful. I saw so on Instagram today, like all the, the moms, I saw like one mom put her kid's hair into heart-shaped ponytails.
I am obsessed with it.
Oh my God. And all I did was like at 8 p.m. last night, freak out that we didn't do the Valentine's Day cards. Like half of them, I was like, can you write your name? And then I just started getting frustrated and just writing his name. We didn't have, I couldn't find the class list. So I'm sitting there like looking at pictures of the kids that they sometimes they send pictures home like of them doing their activities and trying to like pick out.
Oh my God, that's what you were doing?
Okay, now I'm counting all the kids.
Facebook page?
Dude, it was such a hot mess. I'm praying. There are some moms that have heart-shaped pigtails today, and I'm just praying we have enough Valentines for all the kids in the class.
Yeah.
Please.
Well, he's 4, so if they don't, it is not a big deal, I feel.
You know what? It's just so much needless pressure because it's like it's if you show up without it, there's like pressure. There's like that whole thing where you're like, I showed up with nothing and now I have to feel bad about it all day. Or you show up with something and then you feel bad about that all day because it was like, was it enough? Did I like yell at my kid last night about writing his name just so we could like send these stupid Valentines, and I should have just not done that at all? There's a lot of things to feel guilty about.
I feel
them all.
And I feel them all. Luckily, you feel them all. Well, not guilty enough to do it ahead of time.
No, not that guilty.
No.
Because you know why I leave the—
I will learn nothing from this.
I will learn nothing. You know why I leave the school things to the last minute? Because I'm resentful. I'm secretly resentful that I have to do these things. So I'm like, it's not a thing that like I want to like give it to the man by like being like, I'm not going to do the Valentine's till the last minute, but it's not hurting anybody but me. But I feel like I'm like, yeah. And I did it at the last minute because like, this is stupid. But the only one who suffers is me in the end.
I honestly feel like there's just different kinds of people, right? And some people who send their kids with like the Valentine and it wasn't stressful to them. Like maybe the heart-shaped ponytails was just like an enjoyable, great time. And it wasn't even a whole stressful thing because I think some people, are like really good gift givers, I'm learning. And some of us are not. And I'm like, I don't know if it's maybe sometimes I think it's like how we were brought up, maybe that we just
what, me and you?
Yeah, because how did we come out? Like both of us are not particularly good gift givers. Like it's Valentine's Day. Like what'd you get, Mark?
Nothing. Was I
Exactly.
Listen, I
Exactly.
got like 9 4-year-olds, like little skateboards with cards. So like that's the end of my
Yeah,
efforts.
you're done.
My husband's
Yeah.
not getting anything for crying out loud.
But some people are really great gift givers and have been like prepping for this and like it's their thing and they did not find it stressful to send the cards and all of that. And like for me, when holidays start to come up, like I just start to feel some more stress about it. And even when I'm trying to prep ahead of time, I'm like, okay, this is going to happen. Like it's coming. It's in the date, it's in the calendar. Like it's going to happen and like you could prepare and feel good about it and then I just don't. Like I
And I
just had
just
a birthday like I just had a birthday and I feel like people got me the most thoughtful like gifts that I like literally was like how what? Like my best friend, she saw that I've had a hair straightener that's been broken for probably 2 years now. And it just like dangles, like the iron on it just like dangles off. So when you use it, you got to pop it back in, but it comes off as you're using it. So the iron's hot. So you got to get a towel and poke it back. This is so you. It's so me. And of course, I haven't just gotten a new one. And for my birthday, like I open it up and I got a new hair straightener. And she's like, "You didn't replace that broken one yet, did you?" And I was like, "Of course not."
do you know me at all? Of course not. But that's, gift giving is a love language.
It is.
And I feel that it is giving them just as much as, all the feels that you're feeling like, wow, that was so unbelievably thoughtful. This is an amazing friend. Like all those feels, they're getting to feel them too through giving something to you. So it's like a win-win for everyone.
Mhm.
Um, if that's what you enjoy.
Yeah. I mean, it just like always has my like jaw dropping because I would have never, like, the other thing is like, I'm now sponsoring a wolf in Pennsylvania because that's what she got me. And so that I could have like my own wolf pack. And I was like, that is the most thoughtful, like, but I couldn't even wrap my head around it. Like, that's so thoughtful. I would have never thought of that for someone. And then I'm like, I suck so much. But like, those people are just amazing.
I think they can be amazing without you sucking. But I get it. I totally get it because I'm like I have all guilt on those
Because
kind of things
other
too.
kids are showing up with their cards for Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
Rory's going to come home with like a plethora of like well thought out, like extremely thoughtful things. And like I'm not sure if he even has enough cards for the class, but here we are.
Here we are.
And we're all people and we're all just trying to make it. And I hope because I'm going to use this as my opportunity to preface it. I didn't get you anything thoughtful for your birthday. And I still love you the most, but it's not my love language. So I hope you enjoy your gift card.
I know you love me the most, though. I
I
already
do.
know about
I
it.
do. But I don't live that life. So I did also want to, just before we start, I did want to give a quick update because there were some people that were really holding on to this and like hanging off a cliff. Kelsea did get a table.
Oh my God, yes. And you know what? When I posted it on Instagram, a lot of people were like, "Did Rachel order that for you?"
I didn't.
And
That would
I
have been
haven't.
thoughtful.
But but a lot of people were on the edge of their seats with if I got a table or not. So I just genuinely appreciate you guys, first of all. But I did get a table and I'm really like, I'm using that momentum and it started to carry me forward. So then I got a couch and like the other things have fallen into place once you start, which is a great segue to our actual
Oh my
episode
God.
here.
I was just going to say, like, you are segueing us so perfect because you are so right in that action breeds more action because it's always a confidence builder to take action on something that you've been putting off and say, like, no, I got this. I can do this. And if it's wrong, it's wrong. I'll send it back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, I made one decision. I can make another. I can make another. It really like it builds your momentum. And sometimes, and I think this happens so much with fitness, where we have to be ready to start something. And then we think about it and think about it, think about it. This is what I do with buying a table. I'm not ready. I haven't found the perfect one. It's what if it ruins the whole room? What if I don't like it? Like, what if you fail? There are so many what ifs when you're starting or starting back up or whatever it is that you're doing. And then you have to go, well, I'm not ready. But the thing is, you just need to start and then the momentum comes. And then you realize, like, what was I waiting for?
Well, I think that what you're describing with what you do with decor is like waiting for the perfect circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
And the realization that those don't exist is like a massive life changer. There is never going to be a perfect circumstance for you to start anything or do anything or take action on anything. It doesn't exist. The perfect circumstance is just when you decide to take action. That's the only, and you took action on the table, and then you were just sitting there one weekend and you were like, I just ordered a couch when we
Mm-hmm.
were just all sitting at the table, like eating chips, and you were like, I just ordered a couch. And I was like, this is from the person who has like stressed about this, talked about this, gone and sat on 1,500 couches. None of them. I'm like, that's it? You didn't even.
Couches in different states. People ask me where I went, and I was like, which time? It's like, I've been doing this for 8 months. Which time? Which time? And like the same day, I had wanted to order some new skincare products that I had looked up. I remember this specifically because you had showed them to me, and we were outside, so it was summertime. And I
Summer.
don't even think it was like this last summer. Like I think it might have been the one before. And I had been putting off buying it, and then I did it the same day because it was momentum.
Just
So
momentum.
what we want to talk to you guys about today is actually what I feel is pretty serious.
This is so serious. This article, I mean, it shook me because like there's always, that fear for me that people are losing momentum in fitness and are not doing the things that they need to do to have longevity in their body, to have freedom in their body, and that disease is always just creeping up. And it's a fear that I have for humanity, and that is why, we do what we do, because we're trying to combat that in every way possible. Because I just replay, Wally in my head all day long. And I'm just like, I have to do everything I can to make sure that we are maintaining the ability to live in a healthy body. And so when Mark sent me this article, I was just like, I don't know, were you shaken up about it?
I I definitely was shaken up about it, but I also was not incredibly surprised. And I think that was actually like that reflection was actually like what shook me more is that I was like, you just heard 25% of adults right now are physically inactive. And you were like, that sounds about right. And I was like, whoa. That is not the reaction that I wanted to have because when we talk about fitness, so much comes down to like, what are you doing in the gym? How are you feeding your body? How are you fueling? Blah, blah, blah. But the reality is, activity and in your body and your health is at the top of all of that. And everything has gotten so blurry along the way when it just comes down to that simple thing. Is your body healthy? Are you feeling healthy in your body? And it doesn't have a body fat percentage. It's just like this is the vessel that you're going to live your entire life in.
It's so true. And, we'll link the article in the show notes because, I want everybody to kind of be able to see the stats and stuff that we're seeing. And we'll summarize it a little bit, but basically, it is a look at pandemic America and how much these conditions have affected our prevalence of physical inactivity. it was shocking to me because the report said that 25% of adults are considered totally physically inactive. And when the article, and so that didn't surprise me if we were just talking about, okay, people that, have a gym membership and that are going to the gym, because we know what the pandemic has done to gyms everywhere. I mean, people have not felt safe working out. It's, that's an area where, would be the first thing to go if you were having, some concerns about, spreading COVID, getting COVID. And so, like judging it on, who goes to the gym every single day, that wouldn't surprise me if 25% of people, but that wasn't actually the parameters. What they were using was respondents were asked if they had participated in any physical activity outside of work. That could include running, golfing, gardening, walking. Those were all within the parameters of physical activity. And 25% of people in the last 30 days have not moved in any of those ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that was one of the most shocking things too, because it's just like those are not talking about, gym and being purposeful in your fitness and health, just being active in a way that you are basically living your life, going for walks, gardening, doing things that you enjoy, riding your bike, doing those kind of things, are just kind of what, those physical activities are kind of basic. And that includes like things you enjoy, like golfing and playing tennis and things like that. So that was a really shocking part of that for me. And just so you guys understand, 25% is the average. So there were some states, in the country, there were some states who were lower than that, where like I think it's like Utah, Colorado, some of California, things like that, like places like that had a lower percentage, more like 15, 17-ish. And then there were some other states who had about 30% of people were inactive. And that was like West Virginia, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Alabama, Kentucky, Arkansas, Mississippi, like all of those states are on the higher end. So that to me, I mean, geographically, we knew there was going to be a difference just because, lifestyles are very different. Where people live in places like Colorado, they just tend to be a little bit more active. They're going skiing, they're going hiking, they're doing those things. And people who live there tend to move there or just participate in those activities, like for the hiking, for the skiing. They tend to go there for those things. But 30, so some states are at 30% of inactivity. So what we wanted to talk about was, over the last year and a half, 2 years, we've done several episodes about, the pandemic and what that stress has looked like for you in your life and giving yourself a break and recognizing that external stress can be really difficult to try new things or to do something hard outside of your everyday hard life. So we wanted to recognize the difficulty there and internally give yourself some grace. And I think we talked about that a lot and we did a good job. I'm going to tell us we did a good job on that.
Yeah.
But I want to say today, enough is enough. And that doesn't mean we are no longer giving ourselves grace and love and recognizing that things are hard, but we also need to recognize that we need to take care of our bodies.
This whole thing of the immense amount of stress and anxiety, we've seen so many studies that have shown the radical increase in anxiety and mental health issues. Obviously, this has taken a huge toll on people. And when we talk about having grace with yourself and saying, wow, I'm going through a really hard thing and I need to step back and realize that I can't be so hard on myself about, things I feel like I'm not accomplishing. And we put the gym in that realm because I think that it's appropriate to realize that very, very intense, difficult workouts might at this point be like a little bit too much. Because
Mm.
if your life is so difficult and intense, and then your stress relief is something that's also difficult and intense, that might be great for you. Some people that really works for, because then they can like let all that out. And some people just like tend to feel a little bit more like run down by that. And they're like, I have enough intensity in my regular life. I want something a little bit more laid back. And that's okay. But I think what we really want to highlight in this episode, when we're saying enough is enough on this, is guys, physical inactivity is not self care. Okay. When we say you need to take care of yourself in an extra stressful time, you need to be kind to yourself, you need to give yourself some grace, that does not mean sitting down and not getting up again for the rest of the day. That does not mean 1 in 4 people not even being able to say that they went for a walk in the last 30 days. That's not self care, that's self destructive.
Yeah. And I really think that's the framework of how we're thinking about our self-care, and realizing that taking care of your body, taking care of your mental health and your body is is important and is your self-care. So like when you start, we have some tips for you when you start to think about movement again, and how we can really reframe, how we can reframe movement as being not another stressor, but part of your self care routine, part of you taking care of yourself and de stressing. And you're going to really need to think about what that looks like for you, because for some people, like Rachel said, like an intense workout might be a really, that de-stresses them. For some people that is completely overwhelming, and that can be one person, and those are different days.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
like,
Absolutely.
this is me 100%. Sometimes, guys, sometimes like I get into the gym and I'm like, I don't have another gear today. I'm like sitting in neutral to get here, and that's all I got. So I'm just going to start moving my body, and I'm going to realize that varying intensities for me today, 60% is my intensity. That's what I have, and I'm going to be okay with that.
I'm so glad, that we highlighted the importance in the past of giving yourself some grace, because that fits in perfectly with this message of that, giving yourself some grace looks like, hey, I'm going at 60% today. Hey, I'm replacing my intense workout with a walk today. These are all things that constitute self-care. But I think where it gets weird is when we start to think that like inactivity is the way to give ourselves grace. And I want to say that if we can look at this pandemic, I know it's nowhere near in the rear view, but if we can look at it for a second from a backed up vantage point, and we can say, is there anything that can be taken from this? It's always going to be that health is the most important thing. There's nothing without health. There isn't, and there's no work, there's no success, everything falls to the wayside without your health. And when we say that sacrificing our health is self-care, that's literally the opposite of anything that you should be taking from a pandemic that's killed so many people. Is just that like health is all we have, and activity, like walks, like whatever you can bring to the day, like gardening, like golf, moving your body is the way to health. And if that's not your top priority after something like this, I'm confused.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what that, you can decide what that looks like for you, but, we have to look at health being the most important thing and what self-care looks like. So our first like tip, I guess, when it comes to that is just like any movement is good movement. We can't really be super hard judges on the type of movement, because that's when you say like, well, I'm just not going to do anything at all. And that's what we're trying to avoid. So, like any push at the gym, just showing up, getting through the warm up, getting in whatever movement you can at a varying intensity is going to be part of your self care. And don't beat yourself up over your workout if it wasn't 100%. I mean, those of us, honestly, those of us who have been in the game for a really long time and have been able to, maintain fitness as part of our lifestyle for a very long time, realize that you don't show up at 100%. Like, you got to find the balance. And the fact is that when we start to add fitness into our life, we either do 100% or we do nothing. And that either leads to burnout or injury, to be perfectly honest with you, because you've got to decide that I'm going to show up for myself and my self-care. And it's not going to be a rock star day every time. Any movement is good movement. Sometimes you're just breathing through a workout.
And that's going to be good enough. And on that note, every single time that you show up, you thank yourself. You thank yourself. Like, stop talking so much shit to yourself.
Yeah.
When you are doing the hard thing, you're doing the thing that you know is important for your health. You're doing the thing that is like the key to longevity. You're doing it, right? And then you're freaking talking shit to yourself about the way in which you're doing it. Look at those weights. They're so light. You're such a bitch. Look at you, I wanted to run a 5K today and I had to walk part of it. And so this is a failure. Guys, every day that you show up to do, we always have it in the backdrop of like, this is the thing that is going to keep me around here for the people that I love. To see sunsets that I want to see, to go places that I want to go. So there is nothing else to be said to yourself after you do the thing than thank you. Thank you, body. Thank you, mind, for getting me here today. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for blocking out all the other noise that could have taken my time and saying like, nope, I'm prioritizing me. And every single time you do that, it is a celebration. 10 times out of 10.
Yeah, I honestly, all I can do is echo that, because I just think that thank you body is such a simple thing that we can do. It doesn't mean you have to love your body. It doesn't mean you have to, love the way it looks today, even the way it feels today, whatever. Thank you body is such an important phrase. And it really brings us back into ourselves that we just overlook so much. And I had read something on this, of course. But it was in a moment where I was like, I didn't want to use one of the pictures because I have like a giant scar on my leg, and I just zoomed in on it, because your eyes do that to your own self all the time. And then I was like, that phrase came into my mind of like, thank you, body. Like, you got me here. All of the scars, everything, like, you are doing the damn thing. So like, don't, if there's one thing that you can take out of this and just add into your routine, like, I would really love to just see more people doing that and recognizing it. The next thing is just a mindset shift of like, instead of the gym being something we have to do today, something we're dreading, something that is, lingering over our day as another hard thing that we've got to do, changing it into something that we get to do. And it's again a really small phrase too that you can shift when you're like saying what you're going to do in the gym today. Oh, I have to do, row intervals. I get to do some rowing intervals today, is a really different shift of like, this is part of my self-care. It's something I get to do. It's something that I'm so thankful of. And it's one of the best parts of my day in this crazy world.
It is a crazy world, and the things that any time that you get to carve out for yourself should be that. It should be exciting. It should be, and I know that things are not going to be exciting every day, guys. If you're consistent, it's going to be, it's not going to be like, woohoo, I'm so glad to be here every day. I'm so lucky to be here. But if you can just remember, when those feelings are creeping in about like, oh my how am I going to get this in today? And I know I need to. And it really does make a difference. I get to the phrase,
Mm.
it really does help. And just remembering that, like, I think going back to a previous point, that if you remember that when you get there, your best is going to be whatever it is going to be that day, will also really help you to not dread it. Because if you know that you're going to just show up and give what you have to give, there's no kind of like pressure behind it where you're like, oh my God, now it's like something I'm stressed about coming. You know what I mean? If you just accept that how you roll is how you walk in, is how you're going to roll, and that's going to be good enough. I really, really want everybody to sign up for something. I think it would be so good for everybody if they could find something that is like a little bit in the future, and they could say, I'm going to sign up for that. I want you to sign up for a mud run. I want you to sign up for a 5K. I want you to sign up for a Zumba class. I want you to sign up with whatever it is that is interesting to you. If there's like, even like, if there's, golf league or a gardening club, anything that involves physical activity, sign up for it and have something to look forward to.
Yeah, having something to look forward to is such an underestimated
Oh my
motivator
God.
that sometimes we don't realize because we're in the like constant like routine of things. But if you have something that's in a future date that becomes very specific about your goals and gives you, something that you're kind of working towards. The next one that I wanted to talk to you guys about is being clear about your goals and what progress looks like to you. This came up because, a lot of women who have, who follow me and have responded to me in, in my DMs and being like, I want to be able to do that. I'm not reaching my goals. And that's when I hear all the time, it was progress. I started to make some progress and then I had a setback. And the thing that I always ask back is, what is progress? Like, what is that? And 9 times out of 10, the answer that I get back is, fumbled a little bit because they are just like, I'm not seeing progress. So a lot of times it's fat loss and muscle gain. And you would think that that is specific, but it's really not. It's not specific at all. And I would really like you to set your goals to be very specific on what you would like from your body that does not include some arbitrary, like fat loss and muscle gain. And then, of course, you don't see progress because you're kind of like looking in the mirror. Am I losing fat? Am I not? And it takes you outside of your body when self-care is inside. So what I would really love for everyone to do today is be very specific about a goal that you have. If it's yoga, is there a pose that you would like to see yourself do? If it's walking, can you increase your distance? Maybe you increase your time. So, or it could even be the number of times per week. So if you're like, I'm going to take 3 walks and I average about, I average like maybe like a half a mile every time, but I'd like to get up to a mile by 2 weeks from now. Something along those lines, like being very specific about what you would like to see from your body and seeing the progress there. If you're lifting, are you on a program? Do you want to see your maxes go up? What are your current maxes? If you're a runner, are you increasing your running time? Are you increasing your distance? These goals can be specific to whatever modality, whatever type of fitness you're doing. But I want them to have to actually do with your fitness and your health.
It will be so much easier to actually see the progress that you're making if progress is defined.
Yes, because the thing is, it happens every time. I can't even tell you how many times I've seen this. And people say, like, I fall off because I wasn't seeing the progress, or I started to see some progress and then I fell off. There were these life events that happened, but you were never really specific about the progress that you wanted to see. in seeing it within your body. Now, when you take it away from like, well, do I have fat gain? Do I have muscle gain? What's going on here? Am I losing or am I losing weight? Sometimes it goes back up. Like, it's like all of these things that are basically out of your control and don't actually have to do with your health. Let's talk about things that we know are improving your health. If you are walking longer distances for more times per week, you are making progress. Point blank.
The
There's
end.
nothing, the end. There's nothing else that like can be inserted in there. What if your hormones go up, down, your weight did, blah, 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 blah. What did I eat? Oh, is my body retaining more water? Nope. You are seeing your progress right there out in front of you.
And it's in, in the scope of health that is like the whole reason for this in the first place, right? So yeah, I couldn't agree more. And then on that note of, signing up for something and being clear about your goals and progress and what it looks like and making it measurable, I think that we really need to use some techniques to ensure that we have sort of a contract with ourselves and that we have this as, our number one focus. I think that writing it down is a very, saying to like, my goal is I want to walk 4 times a week and I'm going to make this happen. And then like hanging that on your fridge. Like I said to you before the podcast, like, wouldn't that be a nice thing to hang on the fridge instead of a bikini?
Yes. Before, I'm glad you remembered that part because that is like, I would love for you to add why when you're writing it down, because day to day, sometimes you forget. It could be as simple as I'm going to go to the gym 3 times this week because I love myself. And like adding that in there because I love myself. That's why I'm going to go. And just seeing that on your fridge instead of somebody else's bikini, whatever, what like these other like crazy things that just end up falling off. That then you bring it internal. And
And,
that's everything.
on that same note, like if you can set some reminders on your phone that kind of have that backdrop in there, your why or your goal or whatever you feel like motivates you, having the reminder come up that it's Monday and it's a walking day and that you have a goal of a mile, like that just little thing popping up on your phone, you might have been sitting there scrolling, you might have been having a rough day, you might have been doing whatever, and it was kind of going to be difficult for you to envision doing the thing. Having the reminder pop up, it sets off, this course in your brain of when the goal comes up and you're reading it, you like your brain is almost following through with that goal in your mind. So like you might see yourself walking. And or if it says it's Monday, you want to squat 100 pounds, so don't forget to work out today. Like seeing that I want to squat 100 pounds, I just pictured myself squatting 100 pounds. And the visualization of that is really, really helpful and important to make sure that you're remembering why we're doing this in the first place, and you're visualizing your goals, which is we've seen in a million studies is 100% effective in helping you get closer to said goals. So that's just a really, I think it's like a really like easy trick that you can just set a reminder or write something down and put it in a visual place that you're seeing all the time. And, I don't know. When we first started out, we were very tough love, very tough
Yeah.
love. It was
Yeah.
like abrasive because that's really, I think at our core, we were a little bit more inexperienced and we were kind of like, you got to get it done and this is the way to do it. And I think that through something like a pandemic, I'll say for myself, I can see that there are so many facets to human nature and there are so many things that need to be considered. But at the end of the day, enough is enough, guys. If you are not moving at all or you haven't moved in a really long time, It's time to move. And I'm telling you this because I love you and I don't care what your movement looks like, but you are putting yourself in a very dangerous, dangerous position by not moving. And I don't want that for you. I don't want you to be in danger. I don't want you to be leaving this earth too soon. And it is enough now. We're not calling it self-care to sit around. We are getting up and we are doing the things that we need to do to make sure that we can be here. Enough
Yeah.
is enough.
Enough is enough. There was one thing I wanted to add to, setting reminders on your phone and getting back in touch with the person who set some of these goals, because when you get into the day-to-day, when you set a reminder on your phone of a time that you put it in there when you were feeling motivated, when it comes back up, you kind of get back in touch with that person who wrote it, and you remember her, you recognize her, and you say like, okay, I can be her. And you have to show up as her before you are her. It's
True.
one of those things you got to, and I know I personally do this for myself in the winter. I write little notes that say things like, it's not going to rain forever, the sun's coming back, because I have to remember, because I'm like, it's going to be cloudy and cold forever. Like forever. I can't see the end. I don't know. What is this? It's just dark. Like that is something that, like, once you see those little reminders, you remember the person that wrote them, and you say like, she is happy. You're gonna be okay. It's not gonna be it's not gonna be raining forever. And it's one of those things that puts you back in touch with, okay, I can get up. That girl thought I could, and I know her. I remember her. So I'm gonna get back up.
Oh, I love that. I
Love
love
that.
that. I do. No, because like she's just you. And
She's
we have
just you.
all different, who God knows who's going to wake up in this bed today. I don't know. These people in my house better watch out because I don't know who's going to wake up. But
I know.
yes, I mean,
So what's
you're,
the real here? I'm just as surprised as you are who shows up.
and especially like in times like this where like things change day to day that can really make or break, outside forces that are just affecting us so much. And it's like, I don't know, for most of 2020, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to wake up to today. I don't know what I'm going to wake up to today. And then that carried on into 2021. And it's just so much uncertainty. But the real, constant is that whatever you know to be true at the time, and like setting that and just coming back to her is like, yeah, you're right. It's so true. I really do love that. So it's time.
It's
It's
time.
time.
It's because we love you and you love you.
And you love you. And you loving you is why you're going to do this and why you're going to get up and why you're going to start again today, because today is the day. There are no perfect conditions. Yes, everything is tough. Yes, it's going to continue to be tough, but you are tougher and you are doing this for reasons that are far more important than anything that the world could throw at you. Because ultimately, this is about you and your health, and we've got to get back on the wagon here.
We love you guys.